This is going to be an exceptional matchup with Mick Fanning surfing in his 5th straight final here at J-Bay. This is going to be very, very interesting because John Florence, he's thrown down some of the biggest individual turns. He's had a higher single ride score than Mick, but Mick has had some of the heftiest heat score totals. I'm here with Ross Williams. We're going to be calling the final for you, and a bit of history between these two competitors, Ross. But it is going to be Fanning moving down the line and getting things started early, as he has in each of his earlier heats, and builds speed straight away. This wave's going to slow up in a moment, and Fanning's going to lean that board right onto the rail, drawing out a big carve to get started. Now climbing vertically, looking for a big finish as the wave shuts down the inside. A neat little projection float.
Bit of a wide wave here, so it kind of snuck away from John. So it really unfolded nicely for Mick, but as you said, he had to create a ton of speed to get around that section. Now he drops down with all that speed on tap, and there's your trademark Mick Fanning power hook. Very scoreable, consistent. You know he's going to go ahead and finish this wave off, but just 3 maneuvers, pretty easy for Mick to pull off these moves, so I think this is going to keep the score in that, kind of above medium range, but there's the fluidity run.
I love Mick's big carving top turn. He takes that really high line, and if you're sitting out the back and you're watching that move, looking in towards the beach, you usually see the fins actually pull through the back of the wall of the wave, and it's a lot more critical sometimes than it looks from front on.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, keep an eye on the line up here. John Florence, well, he decides to throw himself down the line here on this wall. A nice transition turn, a big fan of spray. He goes to the air. He rides out of that move and still belting this wall down the line, and a solid finish.
And what makes it so risky is look at the face of this wave. He doesn't have room to breathe. There's not a ton of room to go ahead and fly to the air with ease. He's going to have to be so agile right here to land in that cupped out face. There's a great chance he could have pearled on the tail end of his board. But John is so agile for someone who's over 6 feet tall to just go ahead and spin it around in that tight little face. He's making that look way too easy. Trust me, folks, that is such a hard maneuver to pull off with speed and flow, and then to be able to transition into a couple of more great maneuvers to finish that wave off.
A lot of surfers would rely on that little reverse as a finishing turn, but John maintains that down the line flow as he rides out of this move.
Yeah, so again, that just shows you how confident he is. And again, because that face had no room, it made that air very technical. So he's going to put the judges to test here.
And reasons for his success throughout this contest has been his wave selection, and he's found the best wave of the final yet. Right here with a critical first turn, huge float, still has plenty of speed for this turn, leans on that back foot, releasing plenty of power, and has more wall to work with down the line as he releases that tail. That's got to feel good.
That's exactly what happened here. This wave is overhead, and it was easy to fumble in this wave. It was pretty tricky how fast it was, but he kept that flow up. I mean, you look up flow in the dictionary, and there's a picture of Mick smiling. And right there, another speed hack to float. So, extremely agile for him to get right back up on the roof of the lip to keep that speed up. Again, J-Bay is constantly trying to outrun you. So it's very easy to get caught behind and kind of look clumsy, but not the case for Mick. He's constantly keeping that board flowing, getting that speed up just enough to get back to the face. There's that crazy cut in the water. Again, a floater to get back out into the open, and his trademark Mick Fanning slice, even getting the fins a little released there. That's kind of his version of an X-Factor move of, throwing a little more risk into it than just your stock standard carve. So great mix-up, but again, the judges are going to be extremely capable of throwing big scores because how perfect that wave was. And, it's not like Mick Fanning toned it down. He definitely delivered.
10 spots. And he had another good finish in Fiji. Here he goes, looking for that 8.61. First turn, unloads a lot of water, and he plugs.
Priority game, and kind of just occupy the top of the lineup and take the next best wave. Again, John trying to read the wave, quick snap, caught just a little bit of an edge. And again, he made the decision right there, Ronnie, that wave was going to get in front of him. So he had no choice but to go for the air reverse. So I give John a lot of credit for stepping on the gas and continuing to be aggressive. There's that slight catch of the edge. Again, just halting a little bit of speed, but watch John, so talented. He knows how to still huck that tail towards the beach and get that nose pick reverse with ease.
And he opts to go the second wave in the set instantly. His objective from the outset is to get as much speed as possible. So he has plenty of time to stack up the moves on the inside here as he races down the line. A couple of big floats to finish that wave off. But right behind him, John Florence gets a bit of wall to work with, and he digs into one of those full rail carves. Let's see how he finishes this thing off. He plugs another one of those reverses on the end of that ride. Such a reliable move for Florence.
I feel like John's going to turn the heat. But I love the fact that it was a big move, but he had to take his time to get around that section. So there's a bit of pause in the action, and then he rips into a very strong rail turn. So a good statement from John, but a short wave relatively. Just a snap and then a finishing reverse. A little bit of a flat reverse, but John didn't have the opportunity with building up speed before he hit that ramp. And that's what kept that last aerial, you know, a little on the modest side, but a beautiful power move to start that wave off running. There's a little tail hawk, so, you know, a solid air and a very confident finishing move, throwing, you know, more risk at it, but it wasn't huge, so that's going to keep the score in check a bit. Mick Fanning trying to get rid of a 7.17. Well, let's see if he's done that. Very fast wave, so cutting the maneuver short. It's never really a good thing for a score. Another floating maneuver, so very horizontal surfing. Nothing wrong with that.
And out the back, John Florence, he shakes hands with Mick Fanning. What a comeback, Ross Williams. 20 seconds remaining, and Fanning will be buzzing. That's his 22nd championship tour victory in a year where he is surfing select events. And there is Mick's mum on screen, emotional obviously. Primrose, a good friend of the family. And Fanning, he has made the jump from 16th position on the ratings up to the number 5 position in the world. His mum, she's been through so much these past couple of years.
What a turnaround from last year, having that horrific incident where they weren't able to surf the final up against Julian Wilson. Now back in the final 1 year later and taking on the win. Well, the sights and sounds here at Jeffreys Bay as the celebratory chair up the beach for Mick Fanning once again. So incredible to see his turnaround from having an injury before this event even started. Questionable to see if he'd even make it into the lineup. And he's come here, overcome the injury, overcome the nightmares to become a champion once again here. It is incredible. I mean, Mick Fanning does not cease to amaze.